The Oklahoma Sooners went 6-7 last year under head coach Brent Venables. Pretty disappointing year for them. I think they had a lot higher expectations than that, but the offense just collapsed. Terrible wide receiver play, really bad offensive line play, bad quarterback play, though I do think a lot of that was because he had no weapons and no time. So they go 6-7, and I want to give credit to the defense because for how bad the offense played to get to 6 wins and get to go to a bowl is a pretty big deal. And that kind of sounds like a Brent Venables team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, the offense wasn't great, but hey, that defense was fantastic. But now they've looked to revamp the offense. Deion Burks should be back healthy. They expect big things from him. They bring Jaden Ott, the running back in from Cal, who only had 385 yards and 4 touchdowns last year. But that's because he struggled with an ankle injury for most of the year. He's a joy to watch. He's very talented, can produce both in the passing and rushing game. And then the crown jewel of their transfer class, Josh Pates, Heisman winner. John Mateer, who's transferring in from Washington State. He had 3,100 yards and 29 touchdowns with 7 interceptions last year. And then had 15 rushing touchdowns on top of it, because why not? Absolute gamer, competitor, great at extending plays, designed runs. Isn't the most advanced passer, but that wasn't necessarily a need from him last year, if that makes sense. They didn't necessarily play the toughest schedule at Washington State, so he just kind of feasted. With that being said, how do y'all expect the transition to the SEC to go for him? Do y'all expect big things from him? Do you agree with him being a Heisman contender? What's y'all's overall feels about John Mateer?
I expect it to go very well if they can figure out that wide receiver room, which they were not able to do last year. Injuries sidelined, I think, 2 or 3 guys for a lot of the season. So if they can figure that out, and then I really like the pairing of Jaden Ott with Mateer just because of the way Mateer is able to use his legs. He was responsible for more touchdowns last year than Cam Ward. So he didn't have quite the same passing season that Ward did, but the threat he brings with his legs puts him on a similar level of production totals wise. So I will be interested to see. It is Josh Pate's favorite to win the Heisman, or his pick to win the Heisman. So after he said that, I started looking into it a lot more. I like John Mateer a lot. I'm excited to see what he looks like this year at Oklahoma, to see can they repeat that same defense from last year. They bring back Grayson Halton, the defensive interior, had 5 sacks last year. They bring back, is that R. Mason Thomas?
That's his name, R. Mason Thomas.
R. Mason Thomas, defensive end, 9 sacks last year, 88 pass rush grade. So they bring back some good defensive linemen to try and repeat that defense. And under Brent Venables, I kind of expect him to get that done. So the question is, can they make it work on offense? And I think Mateer is going to have a very good season. I expect him to be able to do some special stuff this year.
Well, it's hard to be worse than they were offensively.
Correct.
And Mateer's better quarterback than Jackson Arnold right off the bat. He doesn't scream Heisman to me because I just don't think he's that good of a prospect. PFF agrees. A lot of scouts agree. You think of your Heisman Trophy winners, Jaden Daniels, top 5 pick. Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick. Not Trevor Lawrence, but Joe Burrow, Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield. Like, those are all high picks in the draft. Bryce Young, he doesn't fit that. He's not going to be a top 5 pick. I don't think he can play himself into top 5 pick. He's talented. He's very talented. He's a great thrower. Throws really well on the run. They ran a lot of read options with him. He likes to run more than he likes to throw, which is something I need to see change this year, because he has capable weapons, and for Oklahoma to be good, like, he needs to be healthy all year. That's kind of been an issue for them at quarterback in recent history. And you have Jay Knott. Like, let him be the workhorse. You don't need to be doing all this running. Make the splash play here and there, but for him to develop, I think, as a potential Heisman winner and an NFL quarterback, like, I need to see him taking care of himself. I think too often he's running and putting himself into precarious positions. At Washington State, a lot of his highlights, like, if he broke away, he's coming to run over that dude, and I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Because he's not physically imposing enough, like a Cam Newton. He's not quick enough, even in Jaden Daniels, where he can just, I'll break this guy's ankles. He's not his feet aren't quick enough, like Kyler Murray, where I'm running at a dude, but I'll just kind of straddle my way out of bounds really, really quick because my feet are that fast. He's not that. And so that concerns me. I think he's got a chance to get himself hurt, especially with the upgrade and competition coming to the SEC. Heisman feels like too much, but it's college football. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
They also don't need him to be a Heisman.
Not at all. They need him to be good.
Mm-hmm. I like what you said about him needing to be kind of not necessarily a pass, but like he looks to run too often. In my eyes, a lot of time last year was just mainly a one-read quarterback. It was, look, oh, it's not there, I'm just going to take off. And one, that needs to improve, but also I think Oklahoma needs to scheme around him a lot and scheme to his talent a lot. And I think they will work in some option stuff, like you said, some play action, maybe even some RPO, just and keep the scheme simple for him and let him use his strengths and cook in that backfield. And then defensively, they should be good again. They do lose Danny Stutzman. He was kind of the heart and soul of that team last year. But, they're just going to have talented defenses under Brent Venables, and they're going to play sound football in that regard.
Yeah.
So
Venables is going to call the plays again now defensively this year. He's going to return to calling the plays. And they also brought another one on Mateer. They brought his offensive coordinator from Washington State. So they're going to run
that offense,
which
they should.
Mateer wants to run. And so he's not coming into a new system, and that won't really hold him back. He is another quarterback like DJ Lagway, like Garrett Nussmeier, where I am putting him in the category of I want to see it when the lights are bright. Because he was in his only lights are bright game. He was really good in the Apple Cup last year against Washington. He won them that game, had 3 touchdowns in that game, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air. I need to see that this year, and Oklahoma's going to be in that spot week 2 against Michigan.
I cannot wait for that game.
That's going to be an awesome game. Top 20 matchup between the two of them with two teams that may not even end up in the top 25 to end the year. But it's going to be a great matchup there. And then he'll play big road games as well, which is where I want to see it. That's what Lagway I want to see this year as well. How do you perform on the road? South Carolina, October, not just any South Carolina game. October in Williams-Brice. It's going to be even crazier than it normally is. At Tennessee's no walk in the park. After going to the Tennessee game last year, I understand why that is a tough place to play. And then, of course, at Alabama is really tough as well. I want to see him be a gamer against SEC competition and in the bright lights because he just hasn't been in that scenario at Washington State.
Yeah, it's an unknown for sure. Their win total 7.5. I feel like that's pretty fair. I know they're getting a lot of playoff buzz. Just people in the media, really buying it. I think that's kind of where I tap the brakes a little bit. Is I expect them to be much improved because how can the offense not get better? Like you said, I don't necessarily know if I see it going that far. I guess you never know. Man, I have no idea what I want to do with this over/under. I'm going to take the under. I think they're going to be a much improved team, but, maybe only hit 7 wins.
Illinois State, Temple, Auburn, Kent State. That's 4.
Yeah.
We'll say at Tennessee.
Okay.
That's 5. We need 9 in theory, right, to feel comfortable taking the over.
Just even get me to 8 at this point.
Miss Michigan, right? Bryce
Okay.
Underwood, week 2, freshman. That's 6. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the under. I mean, maybe they sneak out another win, but I feel like we already gave them Michigan. We already gave them on the road at Tennessee. I think I'll take the under as well.
I'm taking the over. I think they'll go 8-4. If they're 9-3, they'll make the playoff, and they could lose to Illinois State, Temple, and Kent State, and probably still make the playoff.
Fair. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you lose to those 3, that means you pick up, 5 ranked wins.
You
pick
won
up-
against Texas.
You pick up
at
3
Bama.
top 10 wins.
Yeah. LSU, you win. Yeah.
I think they're going to be undefeated going into the Red River Shootout. I think they'll win the Michigan game, and then they should not lose any of the other games, honestly, given how good the defense is and how good Mateer is supposed to be. And so the Red River Shootout's going to be really fun, especially if Texas is still undefeated at that point. But Texas will be through a lot of big battles at Ohio State, and they'll already played at Florida as well. So that could be a game that kind of flips on its head. We'd expect Texas to be 6-0 and Oklahoma to be 5-1 or 4-2 at that point. Now it could be flipped on the other way, and Texas is the team that's kind of up against the wall. Week 7 is a really fun game to look out for.
I mean, you can't any red river shootout is just going to be like that.
But I'm taking the over because I think they're 5-0 going into that game, and that I just need 3 more wins. I've got Missouri. I think they'll beat the school up north, and I think they'll win a road game.
Fair.
I think they've got that in them. Red River Shootout, who knows? They could win that game as well. But I think they'll win the Missouri game. And so 8 wins is very doable. 9 wins I'd be surprised with, though. Mateer would really have to be a Heisman candidate for that to be a consideration for me.